Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to The Joy is in the Journey. I'm Gina, and I am coming to you from sunny Rhode Island. So happy today to be in spring. It is in the 60s, and we are happy as can be around here. The sun is out, and the buds are just beginning to come up here in Rhode Island. So I am absolutely in that place of joy. And I want to share with you what The Joy is in the Journey is all about. I am a firm believer of not just telling people, well, do more things that make you happy, or you will just be peaceful, or find your joy, find your bliss. It's not that simple for some people. If people knew how to be happy all the time, they would be. If people knew how to be peaceful, they would be. So when I do shows, I believe in trying to help people find a new experience, new ways of thinking about and going into these topics. So I run the Peace Circle on Monday night because I never knew what that was or how to get there. So we come from a place of making myself peaceful so that I can share that with the world. Well, it's the same here at The Joy is in the Journey. It's knowing that joy is right here, right now. It's not a destination. It's not something I have to wait for or achieve. Joy is something that is meant to be right here, right now experienced. And every day what we do is at this show, we bring in new ways of experiencing that joy. What is your bliss? And sometimes you may not have connected with it yet. We talk about all different types of things, anywhere from holistic medicine we've had people talk about body and movement, and there's so many different ways to appreciate life right here and right now. And that's what this is all about. So today I have a wonderful guest that I am excited to have come in. And Reverend Lisa has been on this network. If you're familiar with New Thought Media Network, you know her because she's been around for years. She's on our morning prayer team. She's also got her own show called Inner Dazzle, which I absolutely love. She is a coach. She is an author. She does workshops and trainings in addition to her ministry. She is here to talk to us about her inner dazzle and how she helps people find their inner dazzle. And she's done it in different ways. She's a contributing author to an international bestseller. She has a children's book that she wrote with her daughter that I absolutely love. Her daughter is the star character in 4 different short stories. It's creating the bliss sometimes. Sometimes you have this dream and you think, well, it's too big. I couldn't do that. Of course you could. You find the people that have done it and you talk to them. Nothing is impossible. So anything that you've ever thought, wow, that's really cool, you could do that. And it's getting yourself to that place of believing it, because what you believe is what you are creating. So I am going to bring in Reverend Lisa, and we're going to talk about joy and that inner dazzle. Welcome to the journey.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited and honored to be here. This is just such a wonderful show, and you bring such joy to the world. So thank you, Gina, for being that joyful soul. It definitely catches on. I think being joyful is such a gift. It really is a gift. So
it's contagious.
Yes, for sure.
Smile at people, they smile back. And when you have that dazzle, it absolutely shows, and it is contagious. So there needs to be more of that in the world. So I feel like I found a kindred spirit when I found your show.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it's exciting. So and the show's only been going on since February. February was our first was when we launched it off. So it's still new, and we're fine tuning things, but.
Tell us a little bit about it. I want you to this way people can see what time it is. It's on Wednesdays, 1 p.m. Mountain Time, and 3 p.m. on Eastern Time, which is where I am. So I always say both of them. Yes. So tell us a little bit about that. What is it that you do?
So igniting your inner dazzle. So what that's about is really connecting to that innermost part of yourself that is what you talk about. It's that part of you that knows how to be in joy, that knows how to experience harmony, that knows how to be aligned with with that inner self, that part of you that feels peaceful, the part of you that lives in authenticity, that part of you that knows what its purpose is in life. Those are the things that our inner joy expresses. And so that is my mission, as well as you, similar to yours, is helping people tap into that joy, that authenticity, and learning what is their inner dazzle so that they can live their purpose in this life. I think that's just so key and so important, because when we live in joy and we live in that harmony and live in our purpose, then we are experiencing and expressing exactly that, our joy, our inner dazzle. And I think, we obviously definitely need more of that in the world.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's also about promoting it. It's about making it, that's one of the things I love about this network so much, is that we are here to help shine that joy. We are here to say, look, it is here. There is more good than anything else. Unfortunately, some of the negative is that more advertising.
Yeah.
So we are here to just swap that scale and just make it otherwise. And know, one of the words you said that really rung to me in that is authenticity.
Yes.
We're not meant to be like anybody else.
Exactly.
And society that, we're often taught that, there are a lot of people following and in fear. And when we are living our authentic life, there is not fear.
Right.
In my experience, the authenticity is that place of knowing that and living from it.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And that's, we need more of that. With, this last year has been such a challenging year, 2020. So, and when we started, New Thought Media got rolling back last March. When we started, that was our full intention, was to really help all of us, including myself, anchor into what the truths are that we teach. New Thought Media Network, we teach about New Thought, we teach about being mindful, connecting to our joy, connecting to all of these things that are so important, and anchoring into that so that we can survive and make it through the challenging times.
And when, who would have ever thought the challenging times that we have? I mean, it's been insane. These are things that we couldn't have conceived.
Yeah.
And as a result, we are now more able to do things we couldn't before. It's amazing to me, the resiliency that we have built within us, but we have to know it. We have to shine it. We have to trust it. That greater part of us is that divine within us. And when we are, in a world that doesn't acknowledge it.
Yeah.
When the outer world is in fear or form, we have to know truth. And the truth we come back to all the time is all is well. Well, when it doesn't look it, it's easy to jump out of the boat.
Yeah.
It's easy to say, well, wait a minute here. How can all be well when?
Yeah.
So part of it all being well is trusting the flow. Trusting, that no matter what, you're cared and provided for. And that's the basis of faith to me, is that faith isn't something that you pick up when it's convenient. Right. You don't hop in and out of the boat. You're either in the boat or you're not. Keep your hands and legs in the boat. Right. And as long as I do that, I can see in that way. But it's so easy to be distracted. And it's not to say that we're not here to up-level life. There are a lot of things, we needed to work on equality. We needed to have inform a greater version of that oneness. We are here for that. That's what we talk about all the time. That's what we're here to create. It's CSL is a world that works for everyone. And clearly it wasn't. So it's knowing that, and we are moving and evolving into that. And it doesn't have to be as painful.
Definitely. And that's why we're doing what we're doing. And I feel like, as we anchor these seemingly simple things like joy, like connecting to your inner dazzle and finding peace and finding harmony, they're simple things, but they are what anchor us as human beings, as we're spiritual, but we're human beings living in this human world with, with all the conditions and everything. So I think what we're doing is teaching. I like to provide tools, many different ways and many different forms, on working with people and helping them learn to reconnect and recenter themselves so that we can make it through. Really.
And not just in a place of, getting to tomorrow, because
Yeah.
time does pass.
Yeah.
It's I've worked with it as a life coach. I've worked with so many people over the years that are waiting for retirement or are waiting for something
Yes.
to happen. There is nothing to wait for. I mean, right here, right now, everything, every expression, every feeling
Mm-hmm.
is accessible, but it's up to us to get there. It's not about the external, it's about the internal. So how do we do that? You
Yeah.
know, and it's practices. And like you said, we give people those tools, or we
Mm-hmm.
talk about those tools that make it so that we have a baseline. So if I know that if I watch the news, and I'm not going to say, there were times last year that I absolutely was hooked on what was going on the outside for way more hours a day
Yeah.
than I would have.
I turned it off. I'm like, turn it off. Turn it off.
It's a fine line, because you need to know so that I can pray and know the truth of it and
Right.
be healing presence in it. But I can't be caught up in the undertow of it
Mm-hmm.
and be that presence.
It will pull, pulls you right down.
So it's a fine line between being in it but not of it.
Right. That's the key. That's the whole key.
So how is it? Tell me about your practices. What is it that brings you to this place of being able to maintain your dazzle?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's taken years of discovery for sure. And I think it kind of varies depending on the day. But of course, I always wake up in the morning, and I always tell everybody on my show too, even if it's 5 minutes in the morning, you take that 5 minutes, 5 to 20 minutes. And I start out, I start in my little meditation chair, and I just do some deep breathing, deep breath. Breath work is wonderful. Getting that circular breath moving. It helps you really center and connect and just be present. It brings you into this present moment. And that's the whole basis of a lot of our practices, or my practices, are about bringing me into this very moment. That's the key. So with the breath work, I use a singing bowl that I love, a Tibetan singing bowl. And that sound just brings me right into focus. And then of course I have to do some yoga stretches and get things moving. So, wake up kind of stiff, and, so yeah, the yoga and the deep breathing are my two main things those are my go-tos in the morning and at night before I go to bed.
And that is definitely something that's getting the body movement is definitely something that helps with energy, where everything is energy. So it's getting that flow, just as when we give, we have to receive.
Mm-hmm.
It's a law, that's just how that it works.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're ever experiencing that feeling of stuckness, it's about getting things moving.
Yes.
And that is, if you want something new in abundance form to come in, start giving stuff away.
Right. Move. Yeah.
And it's important to know that there's ways you can do that. It's not just in form. Like, there's plenty of things we all have in our house that we can give away.
Yeah.
But time, talents, and treasures. I love that concept of knowing that we have more to offer than just our money. It's our time, it's our talents, and it's our treasures.
Mm-hmm.
So what is it that we're good at? What are your gifts? Mm-hmm. Because if you've always wanted to be a singer, then sing. And the more that you sing, the more opportunities that will come up for you to sing.
Right. The universe brings that to you. Yep. We attract it.
It's not about waiting for it to happen. It's if you are it, then be it.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I've had to really step into is learning how to just say, okay, Spirit, I'm going to trust you. And the wisdom that needs to come through me is going to come through me, and by taking that time to center. And then, doing all the prayers over this last year have been just a gift in itself, just even for my own inner growth, taking that time, the prayer time in the morning. We have the prayer on New Thought Media Network at 8:15 a.m. on Mountain Standard Time, and then the PM one, and Gina and I are both a part of that. And I think the prayer really is a great anchoring in the morning and at night. Absolutely.
We also, in my center, we have a 7 a.m. call. And
nice.
7 to 8 a.m., we have the first half hour is first it's changed too, since we've been working a lot with visioning. So we do the first 15 minutes is visioning.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I mean, the first 15 minutes is a quiet, a silent meditation. The second 15 minutes is visioning, just simple questions. What is Spirit bringing out in this day? And then the second half hour of our hour of power, we have, we go around with we read the daily Science of Mind magazine, and what am I grateful for, and what is my prayer request? And as a community, that has brought us closer. It is amazing how much closer and what a touchstone that is, because you cannot wake up in gratitude and be in a bad mood. Like if you're starting your day hearing all of these people talking about how, what I'm grateful for, it changes and shifts things, as opposed to, complaining or worried, or, it changes the focus to exactly what I choose rather than. And then we, of course, anchor it in treatment. We know the truth. And it's been such a gift to do this over this past year, and we've just continued it. So, it's creating also prayer partners is another tool.
Yes, it's great.
I know for me, that's a great place for me to, how was my day yesterday, and what do I choose for this day? What's going on, and how do I keep in alignment with what I choose?
Yes, so important.
Do you have any practices that or people that are your touchstones that help you with that?
Oh gosh, let's see. Probably, I think. I really enjoy Marianne Williamson. she's really stepped out of her comfort zone last year, running for the president. I've just always followed her and followed her practices. And of course, she teaches her big thing: meditate, 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 and she'll say it over and over. And so. I really enjoy her teachings. Of course, Dr. Wayne Dyer, he has some amazing different types of meditation as well. Beautiful books. And then again, I like I actually use old school CD and do meditations for manifestations. And, and it's just creating that mindfulness and setting that intention in everything you do. So, and I use also the app Insight Timer. I don't know if you're familiar with that app. That's a phone app. Yeah, it's great. It's you can check for it. It's a free app. It's called Insight Timer, and it's an amazing tool. It's free, and you can get all kinds of great just music if you want, like meditation music. You can actually get guided meditations. They have them for adults, children, and all the different topics. You can get one on stress, one to help you go to sleep, one to help you wake up, anything that you need support in. It's a wonderful tool. So definitely check that out. It's good stuff.
I actually, I use a lot of times the Deepak Chopra has his own as well. And they often have him and Oprah have a 21-day meditation.
Yes.
And they'll often offer those for free. They're days long, and they usually do them every couple of months, but there've been a couple that have really moved me, and I have actually, but they have an app, and they always have different ones for free. So there's a lot of free apps out there, and that's it's under Chopra. If you look under Chopra.
Yeah, so, I think I get those emails. Yeah. And then tell you what's going on.
Powerful and free. And there's plenty of stuff out there that you can look at, even as far as Dr. Joe Dispenza has some wonderful stuff that's very, it is just amazing. There's a lot of different people, and you were talking about Marianne Williamson and Wayne Dyer. For me, Louise Hay as well.
Yes,
really helped bring me into new thought. And when I walked into the center for the first time, and I went downstairs, and the library was all the people I had been reading all along, I knew I was exactly
where you need to be. That's
and
great.
it truly is, and it's knowing and practicing the truth, basically. I know for me, affirmations are another tool that I use to remember who and whose I am. Because it is in positive music. New thought music is absolutely incredible. I mean, all music to me is healing. I love, I have a ton of different songs, but I incorporate them in my peace circle all the time, because to me, music speaks to a different part of my soul.
Yes. For sure.
It's one thing to hear something and to learn it and to listen to people, but it's another to allow it to just settle in. It's almost meditative for me in a lot of ways.
For sure.
And I have playlists for everything. So it's finding things. When I work with people, I'll often tell them, find yourself a theme song. I'll tell people, find a theme song, something that reminds you of who you are on the days that you might forget. So what is it that's going to make you, remember your power, your magnificence, regardless of what's happening in life or what's going on in the moment? What's going to make you remember your truth? And we are not survivors, we're thrivers.
Right.
It's not about any particular circumstance. It's knowing who and whose we are. And when we embody that, it's amazing what happens.
Yes. And so that reminds me too. So the book that I'm working on right now with the Inner Dazzle, I thought that perfect time to bring that up. So the book that I am using, and he was talking about this author, the book is Return to the Sacred, and it's by Jonathan Ellerby, and he's a PhD, and he is fantastic. I'll tell you, this book has been a godsend. What he talks about ancient pathways to the spiritual awakening. And so in his book, there's actually 12 different paths. And so it's beautiful because in my Inner Dazzle show, we are actually taking the time to go through the entire series of these different types of spiritual paths. And so when you were talking about the music, one of the things that I was just reading and what we focused on yesterday in the show was body-centered. We talked about spiritual practices, and where our focus was on the body-centered ones. And so, of course, one of those is sacred sound and music. And so Jonathan was talking about how powerful music can be, and his key point was it's in the experience is when you get it. It's having that experience. So when you're tapping into sacred music or whatever brings you joy in that way, it's music. I mean, it's that experience is what brings that out. And I thought that was so beautiful. I was looking for, he had a really cool little quote I was going to read, but I'll have to see if I can come up with it. But yeah, so the idea is that it's in the experience. And so what resonates with your inner self, your inner dazzle, is what will connect you to life.
Was that the quote that you were looking for?
Oh, there. This is good. This is good. Oh, wow. You even had it. That's so great. From yesterday. The exploration unfolds and spiritual growth occurs when we begin to evolve our sense of who we are and what life is all about. That is by Jonathan Ellerby, and he is super fantastic. And my goal is hopefully to have him on the Inner Dazzle. I don't have him scheduled yet, but that is definitely my mission, because we had him. I actually host a book club through another ministry that I'm working with, and we had him just a few weeks ago. He came on the show, which was so fantastic. So we got to have him live at our book club. But yeah, so this is another beautiful tool. It is the 12 paths to awakening. And so he goes through a ton of different experientials that he's had, as well as spiritual journeys. And then, of course, he goes into all the sacred paths and what is available there. We have body-centered, mind-centered, heart-centered, and soul-centered. So you can go through it, and it's a wonderful guide if you're looking for, if you're just delving into your spirituality. This is a beautiful book to start with.
And it's Wednesdays at your show is Wednesdays at 1 Mountain Time, 3.
Yes.
So that way people can come the next 3 weeks. You're going to go through one per week, correct?
Yes. Yep. So you'll get to learn about all those and how they fit in, and and see what works for you.
And you can't know what you didn't, what you've never learned. That's the whole thing. You can't know. If you've never been exposed to things, you may find something that's absolutely, like I heard you talking about Mia. The show yesterday. And, we have somebody in our center that absolutely loves, and it was life-changing to her.
Yes.
So she got very involved. It helped her mind, body, soul. Absolutely. And everybody can you explain to people what NIA is so that, in case they don't know?
Yeah, NIA is it's dance movement, but it is guided, and there is definite intention. There are 52 moves that work within it, and they call it's neuro integrative. So it's a full mind, body, spirit movement, as you said. And it's just a beautiful practice. It's definitely one that works for me because I am a big mover. I gotta be moving. And then that helps me center, which seems funny, but that's the cool thing about learning about spirituality is that you can discover, like you just said, Gina, there are many different ways that we can connect to our inner self, our inner dazzle, and find that joy. It doesn't have to be through just only sitting and meditating and like, like a little guru. It doesn't have to look like that. There are many, many definite ways to express it and explore what works for you.
And it's so important that we remember that. It's about what works for the individual. Because for me, meditation is often not with my eyes closed. I mean, a guided meditation, I will often close my eyes. But regular meditation for me, I am excited and alive when my eyes are open. And spirit can come to me just as clearly with them open. I'm more excited. And if I close my eyes, I might go to sleep. So it's one of those things for me that it's even prayer. And it kind of weirds people out sometimes. But it's one of those things, it's not about them. It's about what you're getting out of it. And my minister, finally said, he's like, of course you can pray with your eyes open. Of course you can meditate.
Oh, sure.
Do what's comfortable for you. And getting that permission is so much better for me. And I don't know why I thought I needed permission, but it was, it was almost like I felt like I was doing it wrong. But it's about what we get out of it as individuals, and not everything is going to be the same for every person. So it's finding what you're going to. That's why I love talking about all different things. When I was growing up, the thought of, as far as acupuncture, the thought of somebody putting needles in me was like, not a chance. What are you kidding? And now I do it. I've done it for years. And now I feel like, my chi's out of line. And it sounds like, from where I grew up, it sounds ridiculous. But for my body completely needs it. I absolutely feel the difference from the flow of me when we have it or not. So there's so many different types of aromatherapy, even Reiki. It was one of those things I found Reiki because, and it was at this point, it's 13 years ago. My sister she was right before she transitioned. She was in so much pain, morphine wasn't touching it, but Reiki did. But Reiki did. And it made me realize there's something greater out there. That was actually a catalyst for me to start looking into the more.
Oh, that's great.
So anything, even sometimes the worst of experiences in our lives can be that catalyst to say, okay, well, there's something more out there, and I want to find it.
That's great. Oh my gosh. Yes. So I'm thinking about what else? What other tools?
I know. I really wanted to talk to you about before we go on another tangent, youth and family. I know for me, I'm the director at Concordia of Youth and Family Ministry, and the biggest thing for me is there's so much within. We have so many different aspects of life. Family is our greatest part of that. It's not just about being. It's great when you're alone to be at peace, but when you're living with people and interacting with people, that's when we really need to put this into practice. That's what matters most. And I know you've been with Youth and Family for years. Tell me, if you can, share some of your experience with that.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I was the youth minister. I had been in the youth ministry with Mile High Church. Many of you are familiar with Mile High Church in Lakewood, Colorado. It's one of our biggest New Thought churches. I spent many years of volunteering in the youth ministry through all the different ages, the littles all the way up through teens. So I spent many years working at the day camps, the summer camps. And then as I finally became a practitioner and then a minister back in 2002, I then stepped into a church, New Dawn Center for Spiritual Living in Aurora, Colorado. And I was a youth minister there for 10 over 10 years. And so I had a beautiful experience of going from 0 kids. I built the program from the ground up to 50, 60, 70 kids over the years, and, built a beautiful ministry. And so we taught the kids about, like you said, worked with the families and taught the kids about spiritual practices and how that can work for them in their lives. The deep breathing. We did drumming circle, which kids love. The sound, like you were talking about, the sound is huge. We did lots of different beautiful practices. Mandalas, we colored mandalas like a lot like this, my backdrop here. That was a beautiful way with lots of different music. Gosh, we did all kinds of great programs. So it was a huge learning experience for me. What I think I learned the most was that kids naturally agree and get that we are made from God. We are made of that source. We are made of joy. We express joy, and that's just who we are. Naturally, that's just the good thing about kids, is that they just express all of these beautiful qualities of God just on their own without us having to teach them. And so it was really wonderful. It's always been a beautiful experience to work with kids because they just get it, So it's nice. I always feel like I was there, and I'm still here to remind them of the truth of who they are, and continue to help them grow in anchoring those truths so that as they become teens and adults, they can stay centered and be in that spiritual place. Because I didn't grow up with that kind of, those kind of messages. So as an adult, it was like, oh my gosh, if I would have learned all this when I was a kid, what a different life we would have if we would have knew to be anchored and know that we are children of God and that we are made in that beautiful presence of peace and harmony and love and all those beautiful qualities. If I'd have known that as a kid, gosh, who knew? Who'd have known?
Anything is possible.
Yes.
And, the oneness, and that how much, and to honor each other, because it is honoring spirit in and as them. Mm-hmm. And it's just so much. How many times have we said that to ourselves? If only I knew then, and we get the opportunity to share that. And I wanted to bring that up, especially because, traditionally in CSL, we tend to have New Thought in general. Oftentimes it tends to be older people that have been speaking for a long time that find it. I know on the West Coast, it's very popular in the sense that there are a lot of people that were raised in it. Yes. But on the East Coast, that's not the case. Mm-hmm. So it is. We're working on it. I can say from personal. We're definitely working on it.
You're doing it.
We are. It's definitely, we're working it. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, the only way to truly grow a church is going to be, or a center, is going to be to have families there.
Yes.
To have that exciting, new, younger energy. Yeah. And it doesn't mean that the energy that's there's nothing wrong with it. It's right to the vibrance of it. It's like saying, okay, I'm going to let you paint a picture with 3 colors, or I'm going to let you paint a picture with 30 colors. Mm-hmm. It's going to be more vibrant. There was nothing wrong with the 3 colors, but it's exciting to add more. Mm-hmm. And that's the whole thing, is that, it's just expressing a different part of and allowing that celebration to just be bigger. Mm-hmm. And that's what, that's where we're at in a lot of centers. And it's exciting. And it's not about changing or moving away from. It's simply about adding, which is beautiful. And I wanted to also mention that the teen programs that we have are phenomenal and life-changing.
Oh, so yeah.
The camps, I know you've worked at them. Tell us about
the camp. Yeah, so the teen camp program that we have, of course, it shifted because with COVID, we didn't have our regular camp. So we do summer camp for teens. I think it's 13 through 18. I've been to many of them and been a facilitator and been like a room mom with these camps. They have all kinds of beautiful programs. And it really is powerful. Like you said, we bring in musicians so that the kids get a full experience of learning how and experiencing that expression of God in themselves, and learning how to self-love and how to connect with others, and how to and then they always end up finding new buddies, even though when they show up they're like they don't want nothing, they're just all defensive. Not all of them, but many of them, or they're scared and they don't know what their parents signed them up for. But it's life-changing, like you said. I mean, I've talked and been with many of the kids, and they've just had complete changes in their livelihood, their lifehood. There's even been kids that had considered suicide, and by the end of the week, we're in a completely different place and realizing, the truth of who they are and their God self. So it was beautiful experientials. They were the camps in California, the big camps. They were like 400 to 600 kids, huge, big camps. Last year we did Zoom, which was a much smaller number, and it was a whole different dynamic, but it was still really powerful, really powerful.
And it's difficult sometimes for parents to understand where things are at today. It's a very different world. It is very different than what we were raised in. And especially when you're talking about things like sexuality, not every kid's going to be comfortable talking to their parents about it. Yeah. But they can be open and fully be themselves and express that in without any fear or any they can be themselves. And we had past 2 years, we're in Rhode Island on the East Coast. We sent 6 to 8 people both years. We passed over to California, and literally, with the trekking that went with it, which was always an adventure. But they had such amazing times, and they come back and they talk to the community, not only about what they learned and experienced, but how it changed them, like you said. And there are a lot of parents looking for something, and this is definitely a wonderful teaching. That it's wonderful and empowering teaching to think about making sure your kids understand. And there's different ways to do that. So I know that people could reach out to you or myself to be able to, be in that place of, because that's going to help us, how do we get you some information? We'll find out how to get you some information. If you're not in a place that's near a center, we can work that with you.
We can. Yep, we can work with that, and also help you either find a center near you, and now the good news is we have so many wonderful programs online. So at least we have people that have that access. There's just a world of wonderful things out there.
And one of my classmates actually is working on a virtual like this type of training that parents can watch from their home. So you don't even have to be right near a center to do it. You can do it, So there's a lot of things that I know CSL is working on in regards as well, so that we are engaged in all ages and helping, helping children as well as adults navigate through these interesting times that we're in. Because the truth is, every challenge is an opportunity. And it's the perspective. One of my prayers that I have is fix my eyes. It's not about what I'm looking at as it is the eyes that I'm looking through. So everything can be an opportunity or a challenge. And the advantage to, networks like this help so many.
Oh, yeah.
People wouldn't have looked before. Now they're looking for something different, and they found it. So what a gift that, we are here, and it's helped us grow because of it. But on that same note, as far as children go, and I know you have a lot of experience working with all different ages, I wanted to mention your book, which I absolutely love. And I want to just have you talk about that experience. And for those of you, this is, if you have young children, Four Fabulous Fairy Tales.
Yes.
And that's your daughter, right? That's model daughter.
Yeah. So the 4 Fabulous Fairy Tales and Mindful Mini Meditations. This book is generally, it's designed for kids 4 to 8 years old. But the good news is that I always tell everybody, I said, we all have an inner child. So I definitely invite people, no matter what age you are, to get one of these books, because there are some beautiful tools and techniques in here to help support you. And, there's some beautiful messages in here that resonate really with everybody at any age. And so, yeah, so just briefly, there are 4 different fairy tales. And then the fairy tale moves into a mini meditation, which is so cool. So the idea behind it was, it actually started with my daughter and I back when she was probably around 4. And of course, the whole idea was, okay, in my mind, I'm thinking, how do I get this little child to go to bed? I just want her to go to bed. We created a bedtime routine, which is fantastic. And so we would sit and we would create our own fairy tales. So I would start out with, like the traditional kind. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful princess, and then I would have my daughter Abby fill in the blanks. So I'd say, okay, Abigail, fill in the blanks. Let's create a story. And of course, the mind of children is amazing because they are so creative and imaginative. She would just come up with these amazing stories. And so then, that went on. And then usually after her story, I would just tie in based off of what she said. I would make up a little mini meditation, because that's part of what I do with my youth ministry was, do these, and they have to be mini because you can't do a whole big thing with kids, but little short ones. But then by the time, few minutes, 5 minutes meditation, she would be calm and sleeping. And, I'd get her night time, and then I could go have some mom time. And it was a beautiful experience. So the stories that we created, the first story is about self-love. There's just one little piece I want to share with you about Princess Abby. So it starts out that she's, a little bit unsure about herself. And then throughout the story, connects with a horse that becomes her best buddy. I'll just show you. I don't know if you can see this illustration, but I love it. It's so cute. And the idea is they come up to a pond, and then she's looking down in the pond and she sees her reflection. And the cool thing is that, so then the story goes, so Miss Abby, her reflection says to her, "I love you." And, then she's looking like, what? And then this is kind of cool. I can share this real quick. So there she is looking at the reflection and she's like, oh my gosh. And the reflection says, Abby Bear, there are many pieces of yourself to love. Happy girl, sad girl, funny girl, sleepy girl, quiet girl, leader, and follower. And these are just a few of them, and I love them all. And then I ask, and then will you close your eyes, and can you see and acknowledge all of these parts of you? So then I invite, the guests to do the same thing. And so it's a beautiful way to, again, it's just another tool to connecting with your inner self, that inner source that knows and loves all the parts of ourselves. So, just beautiful stories in there that represent that. The next story would be about unconditional love, which of course we all can use more of that. The third story is about compassion, and the little princess in that story actually finds some new friends. And then the fourth story is about a dragon, and he finds some a prince and a princess, and they all become friends. And so the theme is kindness. So they learn how to be kind with each other. So that is the stories, and the messages in there are beautiful little meditation. So I invite you to pick one of these up. You can get them through Amazon, and you can just pull up the 4 Fabulous Fairy Tales, and then you'll see that book is in there. And then I also have another book that I am a contributing author of, and that will pop up as well. So it's kind of neat. I was able to tie them together so they're just on one page now.
Wonderful. And the other book is called Bright Spots, right?
Yes. And yeah, I know I was like, I didn't get you that one ahead of time, but that one is, here's just a little picture. Bright Spots. And this book we created in 2020. And the idea is motivation and inspiration to light your path in a changing world. And of course, 2020 was definitely that.
And it's about being, we are active participants in. We get to choose what it is we pay attention to, who we surround ourselves with, the messages that we give ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to us to catch ourselves, like you said, when she's looking in the water. We have self-talk.
Yes.
At all ages, we have that self-talk within us that is telling us either positive or messages.
Right.
And we get to choose, is this working for me or not?
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like? So it's just being mindful that we always get a choice. And I always encourage people to realize it's not a one and done thing.
Mm-hmm.
Every day, any day, it's going to change 100 times throughout the day. What might be great one day, the next day may not. So it's
Mm-hmm.
about, going with the flow and allowing ourselves to be human, allowing ourselves, we will make quote unquote mistakes, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that they really are. Everything is a learning experiment,
Right.
everything is something that I don't think that things happen for no reason. Everything is for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
There's opportunities, it's a lesson at that point.
Yeah.
Everything is how we frame it. I love
Mm-hmm.
that New Thought. We don't believe in sin. What
Mm-hmm.
we believe in is missing the mark. It wasn't our best self, and I love, I'm probably going to say the word, is it Ubuntu love? In the communities,
Mm-hmm.
in African communities and in different tribal communities, I want to say it's called Ubuntu, and I believe it's spelled Ubunt.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's basically where there was one example that I had read was there was a tourist that came in, and it was an apple, and of course they'd love this because they're thinking, wow, they've never had anything like this. And he was having, and he said, okay, he said there's a barrel full of them right there, and the first one there gets it.
Yes.
And they all link arms and they go together, and he was just in awe.
Mm-hmm.
And when one wins, they all win.
Yes.
And that community, that thought of together we all are stronger, and there is greater love. And to know when someone, there's another tradition that when one person, if somebody were to do something even outrageously awful, the entire community comes around them in a circle. When they're born, even before they're born, they get their own song.
Mm.
And when they, everybody learns the song. And when they're older, if they do something that's not of their highest and best, everyone circles them and sings their song of truth. They know them, they love them into that place of a better place, as opposed to punishing someone for that mistake. It's encouraging someone to be who they really are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, it's everything is our perspective on things. And, we are in a place that, clearly, not everything that we're doing is working. If, our prisons, the recidivism rate is ridiculous. So clearly we could be doing something better, and loving people. When you empower people, that's when change happens.
Yes.
They actually had, I was a member of Toastmasters for a long time, decades. They had clubs in prisons, and the recidivism rate, it was basically zero would come back. Anyone that was involved in those clubs it was like zero. Nobody would come back again. And they tried to figure it out, and the only thing that they could see was it was like literally less than 1%. And the reason was that you were empowering people. They had a voice. They realized that people could listen to their voice, that they could say something with meaning and purpose, and that it mattered. And they were better for it. And these weren't all people that were educated. These were people that came from all aspects of. But when they were back out in the world, they had skills to be able to step up and know that they could be heard. They honored themselves that way. So it's up to us as, in this oneness, in this unity that we call life, to honor each other and empower each other. And I know that's what you and I, that's our business. That's what we do.
Yeah.
As, not just in ministry, but also as in our coaching, in our workshops, in our trainings. There's magnificence in all, and we do all we can to bring that out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's important. It's important work that we're doing, and I think that's where clearly your passion is, and my passion as well, is just to be there, support people, and guide people, as I support and guide others, and then I learn along the way. It's a continuation of learning and growing and expanding in our consciousness, in our mindfulness, in our, creating that deeper and higher level of awareness in, just how we live our daily lives, and all the choices that we make such a difference. To have new thought, or, like we were talking about, have these types of faith and philosophy to fall back on, because, coming from that anchored place is what allows us to grow and manifest and be joyful people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just want to mention, and I didn't, if you can, just tell us how people can get a hold of you. What is your email address?
Yes. So, yeah. It's Lisa at innerdazzle.com.
Okay. Lisa at innerdazzle.com.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's easy enough.
It's in, oh no, I thought maybe it was in the banners, but.
I can try to get to that, but this way at least they know. Lisa at innerdazzle.com.
Yeah, that's my email. You can also find me on Facebook. You can find, my Rev Lisa page, Rev Lisa A. Williams. You can just plug that in right in there and find it that way. You can also connect through, a lot of people are on YouTube. So you can also go to YouTube and look for Inner Dazzle LLC. That is my, you can subscribe there, and then you can get all of our wonderful messages and prayers, and, all the things and the other messages. I also have some of my children's books, some of the stories. You can find those videos on there as well. So yeah, it's a great way to connect. Just subscribe there, as well as, while you're there, make sure you subscribe to New Thought Media Network.
Here we go.
There it is. Yeah. Subscribe there.
So we want to make sure people can get a hold of you. And yes, definitely want to, remember that we get an opportunity to, we can, I wanted to just put that there, ntmedia.org, reach out to us and let us know that you're here. And of course, comments are always welcome on all of our shows. We're live, and that's part of the fun of it, is to be there with you. And this is how you can reach me, Gina at Believe in You Today. And, reach out to us, email us, let us know whatever it is, whatever questions you may have. Know that we are here, and we are here to help you as well, to be, to get to that place of, knowing your own magnificence. I believe we teach what it is we need to, we need to learn the most anyway.
Yeah.
And I also want people to know that they can donate. It's important that people realize that we are here on this beautiful network exists because of your donations.
Yes.
So ntmedia.org, and just click on donate, and there are people that tithe monthly. They can set up for that, or you can do whatever you need to, exactly, or be here so that you can help make a difference for other people getting this beautiful message. So I encourage people to do that, and know that that's what it's all about, is being that change we wish to see in the world. And I want to just mention it one more time, that we have your show coming.
Yes.
That's you're igniting your inner dazzle. And that's again Wednesdays at 1 Mountain Time and 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And I wanted to mention also the Peace Circle on Monday nights, 4 p.m. Mountain Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And on the Peace Circle, we go from the personality as far as who we are. How do I have peace to bring to the world? But also, what does it mean? What does world peace mean? And how do I get there? How do I help contribute to it? And we always do it on music, meditation, and message. And it's a different topic to help take us there. So we use it in a way of, if the topic were love, it's being in that place of, well, what does that mean to take care of myself and love and appreciate who I am? If we don't have self-respect, we can't possibly expect others to have it for us. And Joy is something that is within us, but when we block it with those false ideas, that negative stuff that, whether people have said to us or the negative self-talk gives us, that's when we start having, that's where the blockages come.
Mhm.
They're not real. We weren't born with them. We weren't born knowing that anything was wrong.
Right.
So it's about embracing the life that we choose.
Mm-hmm.
And any suggestions, anything that you'd like to leave our viewers with, that anything around, whether it be how it is that you found New Thought or ministry, how did you hear your calling?
Yeah, good question. So yeah, I come from a background where I had lost my mother to cancer when I was a teenager, and so going through that difficult time, really the dark night was what led me into trying to find something to help me connect and reconnect. And so I did find my path in that way. And one of the ways that I used to connect, and I didn't even know I was doing it, was by nature. If you can at least connect with nature, I think that's just such a great way to begin to just look at your spiritual path and connect in nature. If you can't do anything else, find your way into connecting with something that resonates with you, that brings you joy, that brings you passion, that brings you just a feeling of knowing that everything is going to be okay. That's where you start, is just start at the beginning and listen to your inner voice, because we all have one. We just need to learn how to listen to it. Take the time to be still and listen to your inner voice. You'll be guided.
That's actually how I started with meditation.
Oh, nice.
Because for me, I grew up in East Boston, and all I knew was chaos and noise. That's all I knew. Meditation seemed so out
Like
there.
that?
It is, and it's so funny because I actually, at one point, I had worked for Goodwill Industries, and I was working with people that were going basically from welfare to work, and they had a lot of, many of them had medical, different medical or different types of disabilities, or disabilities, we'll say, and basically, one of my first tool every morning was meditation. And the look that they gave me when I first said, we're going to do meditation, they would look at me, because I grew up like that. So I understood exactly. They're like, meditation.
What?
Music meditation. And we always started our day with that, because it was a wonderful tool to come out of the busyness and the chaos and go into a new beginning and let everything just end.
Just
and
be.
That's why we have our invocations and benedictions, because we have that beginning and then the ending. We allow that time in between to be sacred. So it is, and music meditation is great. You pick songs, like I said, what is your theme song? What do you love? What do you choose? And it's amazing that when we are reminding ourselves of that truth, what can come. So nature is the same way. Yes. You can't look at the magnificence of a sunrise and a sunset and say there isn't something incredible allowing this, that I can watch this magnificence. That creator created you. They created each person perfectly, absolutely perfectly. And when we remember that, it's something on a cellular level that we start to be a little kinder to ourselves. And it's doing the next right thing is the most important thing. Whatever it is that you love, do more of that.
Yes.
More of that. And that's where joy comes in. It's not that it's external. It's that reminds us of the feeling. And it's important to get back to that place of being in that flow of joy. Well, I am so grateful to have you here with me today. Thank you for this powerful message, of hope, of light, of joy. Knowing that, if you have a dream of writing a book, even with your daughter, and being, what a gift you gave to her.
You can do it.
Anything is possible. And it's knowing that and being in that and appreciating that. So I'm so grateful to have you here today. And, I really appreciate all that you have, brought with your dazzle and all the good you do in the world. And to all of our viewers, I just want to say Thank you for being here. Thank you for being that change in the world. Bringing more joy to yourself is bringing more joy into this world. And we always need that. So thank you for being here. Love and light to you all. Namaste.
Namaste.